And as soon as we start streaming on YouTube, guys, I will. We're on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. So, guys, look, we are talking about the conflict in the Middle East right now. I'm going to give you guys a hypothetical scenario. I have to say that, guys, otherwise I'll get the live stream banned. I'm going to talk about a scenario where we have boots on the ground in the Middle East, and these boots on the ground are going to be US forces. Now, look, guys, I've been talking about this for a while. Some of the things I always talk about on this channel is this divergence between the United Kingdom and between the United States, whereby the United States are going to focus in the Middle East and the United Kingdom are going to take the lead in Europe against the Russians. Does it seem like that's happening now, guys? Does it seem like you can see that now? If I just came out here and I said this right now, you guys were like, yeah, Sean, of course, that's obviously going to happen. But look, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what we can see right now. We are aiming up for a new world order, global conflict of an industrial scale. We will be eating bugs, living in 15-minute cities. And you know what, guys? We're going to own nothing and we are going to be happy. Allegedly, that's the course, guys. But look, let's focus on the time. Let's focus with the time that we've got on what's happening right now in the world. And right now, the hot topic of the evening. Oh, who sent me that? I saw that for some reason. Whoever sent me the hearts, then I saw that jump on the screen. Thank you for the gifts, guys, on TikTok. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, let me just get onto this because I've got a lot to get through tonight. And I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover everything. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover everything tonight. So, we are triple streaming. We're on YouTube, we're on X, and we are on TikTok. I'm going to just go right now, guys. I'm going to monologue. And T was the first commenter on, I don't know where she's gone, but she's in, T is all alone somewhere. So can people please send love to T? Because she's all alone somewhere. The location skips my mind, ladies and gentlemen. It skipped my mind. But look, guys, if you're on night right now and you are watching on whatever platform, can you like, follow, subscribe, do those things? I don't say it as much as I should. If you're watching on YouTube, the buttons are down there. If you're watching on TikTok, the buttons are here. And if you're watching on X, I think the buttons are up there somewhere. But right, guys, let's continue. So it does look like, look, and if anybody wants to argue with me, that is absolutely fine. I welcome arguments, guys, I do. But I'm saying the ceasefire is over. Not only am I saying the ceasefire is over, I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to say the ceasefire never even started. But let's just go where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. What is it, the 19th? Are we on the 19th today? Is it the 19th or the whatever date it is today? I think it's the 19th. So let's go from where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. The 19th of, oh, wow, the 9th of, it's almost Halloween. It's almost Halloween, and it's almost the asteroid. Is good, guys. Look, we've got asteroids. We've got asteroids. We've got aliens. We've got US shutdowns. We've got no king's parades. We've got all sorts of crazy shit happening. We've got a football game in the United Kingdom next month on the 6th of November that looks like it's going to send the United Kingdom into absolute civil war. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, could US troops be, could we have boots on the ground in, I was going to say Ukraine. Could we have US boots on the ground in Gaza? I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes, guys. But I'm going to try and unpack this now as didactically as I can and as objectively as I can. Before I get onto this, guys, what I will say right now, I'm going to give a monologue in a second, and that monologue it's going to be an objective monologue. My personal opinion is subjective. My personal opinion is that this will come, and it will be fast, and it will be a US blitzkrieg. It will be US 82nd Airborne, US 101st Airborne, US Rangers, Delta Force, you know, and maybe even the SEALs if those guys can get out of bed. You know, it's going to be fast, it's going to be lightning, and it's going to be catastrophic for those people, for those bad guys, for those terrorists inside Gaza. But look, guys, let me unpack this as objectively as I can. Look, guys, I've got the chat open today. It's going to be wild. I appreciate... The reason I've got the chat open is I totally forgot to click the button because I was on a bit of a back foot. So, guys, let me just go into this. Let me unpack this as objectively as I can. So, let's have a quick recap, ladies and gentlemen, of the situation in the Middle East right now. As of today, I think it's the 19th. I'm pretty sure it's the... Can somebody tell me what date is it? It's the 19th, right? I'm pretty sure it's the 19th. So, as of today, the 19th of October, 2025, and Gaza's US brokered ceasefire, part of Donald Trump's 20 or 21 point plan. I don't even know what that means. It really is on life support, you know. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Israel launched a series of airstrikes. Now, the numbers I'm giving you guys may have changed. By the time I'm giving this live stream, these numbers may have changed. So I'll give you these numbers now. These are the official numbers that I know as of now. And look, guys, I'm going to caveat this. This is a developing situation. It's fluid. So what I'm saying at the beginning of the live stream may have changed by the end of it because this is moving so quickly. So as we know right now, guys, 11 people have been killed, 11 Palestinians. Now, look, guys, I'm trying to be as objective as I can. So the Israelis have accused Hamas of attacking its troops near the Rafah crossing or near Rafah. Israel's response: a total halt on humanitarian aid, airstrikes. Obviously, this halt on humanitarian aid. Look, guys, and again, I'm trying to be as objective as I can be using mainstream media. But I've seen those images of like Palestinians that look like they could do with a couple of salads and a couple of minutes on the treadmill. That's all I'm saying, you know. So they're claiming famine. So like, where's the food going, guys? Where's this food going? Look, guys, I'm trying to be as objective as I can be. So if aid doesn't get into Gaza... I don't want to call it Palestine. Gaza, you know, this is risking famine for over, 500,000 people. Hamas are denying the attacks, of course. You know, they're claiming that the Israelis are the one that are breaking this truce. So straight away, guys, you've got a conflict of interest. You've got the Hamasians. Let's call them the Hamasians. You've got the Hamasians saying, no, it was you guys. And then you've got the Israelis saying, no, it was you guys. Doesn't really matter because we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. And like I've said so many times, guys, we're going to look back and it's not really going to matter who started it. The only thing that's going to matter is who finished it. So we've got both sides, claiming that the other one's, claiming that the other one is the one that's in breach of this ceasefire agreement. Meanwhile, the deal's phase 2, which would be a full Israeli withdrawal, Hamas's disarmament, and an international force. And I am going to come back onto that international force, guys, because I do think the interpretation of this international force will lead to US boots on the ground. That's what I think, guys. I'm open to interpretation. Please give me your objective opinions. Give me your objective opinions. Like, look, guys, I'm looking at the chat here. The chat's going crazy. If you're going to throw... Guys, don't be rude. Don't be a dick. I haven't got time for it. I won't give you... Look, guys, if you're going to challenge me, challenge what I'm saying. I welcome challengers, but make sure they're intellectual. Make sure I can understand what you're saying. Don't threaten anyone. Don't be rude, all right? And I'll give you time and space. If you're going to come up here and you're going to be rude, you're going to threaten people, and you're going to be... You're going to... Just... I'm not even going to mention your name. I'm just going to block you. I am. I'm just going to block you. I tried it the other way. I tried to be nice. But like so many things in life, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot appease some people. So look, guys, I will take all opinions. And I welcome adverse opinions. I welcome robust conversation, guys. I really do. And if you're sitting there and you're wanting to get involved in a robust conversation, I welcome you. with open arms, like a big snuggle, or as they say it in Welsh, oh, do you want to catch? Do you want to catch? But look, guys, let's get back onto this. So let's give the big picture now. Actually, let's go back to that. We need to talk about the regional partners. So like I just said there, guys, we've got this phase 2, which would be a full Israeli withdrawal, Hamas disarming, and an international force. Guys, keep that in the back of your mind, that international force. Now, at the moment, that seems to be stalled because these guys just can't stop shooting. They can't stop shooting each other. That's the reality of the situation. Now, whether you want to blame the Israelis, whether you want to blame Hamas, I don't want to get into that now. I'll get into that later. I'm just giving you guys the reality from the ground, on the ground, all right? Those motherfuckers still shooting each other. So let's be clear, guys, okay? The United States have around 200 troops. I would speculate more, but official numbers are 200 troops in Israel, which is not Gaza. So for anyone who thinks that, US troops are going to be in Gaza, boom, like that, that's not going to happen, guys. It's going to take time. And anyway, just for context, these US troops are coordinating and monitoring alongside Egypt, Qatar, maybe Saudi Arabia, other regional partners. Now, excuse me, but this is the game changer, guys. This is the game changer, and this is what I think is coming. I do. I think this is coming down the road, down the line. I think this is coming. I think it's coming where the Israelis, basically Netanyahu, it would be Netanyahu, would request for US intervention. That's where I think we're going, guys, because I think that would be a game changer. I do, guys. I think that would be a game changer. Imagine the scene right now, the geopolitical spectrum right now. Benjamin Netanyahu comes out and he says, look, he looks at the situation at the ground and he says, look, every time we put our soldiers on the ground in Gaza, they're getting bombed, blown up, all sorts of crazy shit's happening. If the United States put their boots on the ground, they're like impartial. They're impartial. They could maybe have that impartiality. And maybe in that context, you would get some sort of greater peace. I don't think so, but maybe that's the theory. Anyway, look, guys, let's unpack this and let's talk about the bigger picture. The big picture now. Let's zoom out and let's talk about the bigger picture. And if you're joining for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the ceasefire in the Middle East. Looks like it's over. I don't know how anyone can say that the ceasefire is continuing. We're talking about US boots on the ground in Gaza. What would it take? And I don't think it would take that much. So let's start with the big picture, guys. The idea of US boots on the ground in Gaza. Just imagine US soldiers patrolling Rafah, patrolling Gaza, disarming Hamas. It's a tough sell to the US people. It is. It's a tough sell to the United States. But I'm going to come back onto that in a second, guys, okay? It is a tough sell right now. Why? For one, the United States are against putting boots on the ground in anywhere, really, certainly in the Middle East. Vice President J.D. Vance, and we love J.D. Vance. He's a great guy. He's got some great eyeliner. I love J.D. He comes over here and he says, Donnie, why don't you put some eyeliner on? It gives you a great look on the camera, I'll say. I said, J.D., I'm not putting none of that gay shit on my face. I'm Donald Trump. I'm the king of the world. But, it is a tough sell to the United States. So the United States are against putting boots on the ground. I will come back onto this, guys. There's a big but. So J.D. Vance, Pentagon officials have all been clear. No combat troops in Ukraine. Not Ukraine. No combat troops in Gaza. Sorry, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I do Ukraine mostly. I do Ukraine, tanks, bombs, guns, trains, planes, automobiles. And I know that you guys want to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the only person who has the foresight to understand what's coming. So Trump's plan So this is Trump's plan, would lead on a Arab-led force, you know, maybe Jordan, Egypt, I don't know who else. I mean, do I want to say Pakistan and Afghanistan? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a scenario where Afghanistan have it could happen under this peace plan. It could happen where Afghanistan are securing northern Gaza and Pakistan are securing southern Gaza. That's not going to end well, is it, guys? You've got to understand these things. You know, you've got to understand the Middle East. And if you say you understand the Middle East, you do not understand the Middle East. However, this is what we're talking about. So, you know, the United States would supervise this from afar, providing naval support, providing drone strikes, I guess, air support, all that sort of stuff. So that is what they want to do. I don't think that's happening, guys. You know, what we've got to understand is the why. Why the United States don't want to put boots on the ground in the Middle East is because they've learned lessons from Afghanistan. They've learned lessons from Iraq as well. What we also need to understand is the absolute teeny tiny shalabadini size of Gaza. It's like this big, guys. Gaza's like this big. You guys see that? That's how big Gaza is. It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. So that's what changes the game. Because Gaza is so small, I believe, I'll come on to that after. Because Gaza is so small, I believe it changes the dynamics and it changes that shift of power. Because of Gaza's size, which is small, that means the United States could move in there with overwhelming air power, land on, just bring the shit in by the air. Do you know why they would bring stuff in by the air? Because it's cooler than the sea. Only gays go on ships, guys. That's the reality. If you're a Marine, if you're Navy, you're probably gay. If you're airborne forces, you've probably got about 6 girlfriends, maybe even 7. And the most likely scenario is they all know about each other, but because you're an airborne god, they just roll with it. Anyway, sorry guys, I was going off topic there. So what we're talking about here is the quagmire and the lessons learned from Middle Eastern deployments that have happened in the past from the United States. Now, those lessons have been learned, but if Israel, which is a key ally, Israel are a key ally of the United States. Let's just say this, for instance, guys, okay? Let's just say Netanyahu comes up there and he says, I mean, look, guys, whether you like Netanyahu or not, his voice, like, you know when he leaves, when Netanyahu leaves Israeli government or whatever it is, he could start a great YouTube channel as like reading children's bedtime stories. I'd listen to that shit, guys. I'd listen to that. You know, all those like adult sleep stories. He'd be brilliant for ASMR. Anyway. What we're talking about now is if Israel, a key ally, formally asks the United States for intervention, that would force Washington's hand. Now, look, guys, you guys can argue amongst yourselves in the chat how much influence AIPAC has on the United States Senate. That is totally up to you guys. Argue on that yourselves in the chat. What I'm saying is, I think they have a significant amount of influence in the United States Senate. And in that context, that would force Washington's hand. So imagine now, guys, officially, you know, Netanyahu coming out there with his beautiful voice saying, and look, guys, whether you agree with Netanyahu or not, you cannot not agree that Netanyahu has a beautiful voice. You want to listen to that voice when you're going to sleep. So Netanyahu phoning up Trump and saying, hey, Donald, we really need some U.S. Marines, not U.S. Marines, maybe U.S. Marines afterwards. We need some U.S. intervention. We need American peacekeepers to secure Gaza and finish Hamas. That's a game changer, guys. That is an absolute game changer. And it's what nobody is considering this. Nobody's considering this. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? That is exactly why you guys need to hit that like, follow, subscribe, and bell notification, because I tell you things that are going to happen long before they're going to happen. I also realize I need more light coming from that direction. But listen, guys, let's just go with it. I've got half shadowed face. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, guys, because I do have a half shadowed face. And do you know what's better than a half shadowed face? A non-shadowed face. Anyway, guys, look. So where was I going with this? Yeah. So Netanyahu comes out. He asked President Trump. He says, we need US peacekeepers on the ground. It's a game-changing green. It's a game changer, guys, okay? It wouldn't be a green light, but it would be as good as, it wouldn't be it would not be like an instant green light, but it would be as good as. So here's why. First, US Congress would need to sign off on this, because you would need to move that much. Again, maybe Donald Trump can do some sort of executive order behind the scenes. I don't understand the US political system as much as that, but, I'm going with what I know. And look, guys, with that in context, if there's anyone here who's American and you want to correct me on that, I welcome that. I do, guys. I really welcome being corrected. So this would need to be signed off by US Congress. US Congress, which is US Congress, which would be like it would need to be signed off by the Parliament, basically, in the United States. If you live in the United Kingdom, similar sort of thing. The Congress needs to sign off on that. Under US law, any sustained deployment requires authorization. Now, here's the thing that my question marks are dilly swizzling at. If the United States can do this in a week, 7 days, which I think they can, because remember, guys, Gaza is that big. Gaza's that big. And the United States is this big. Russia's this big, but we're not going to worry about Russia for now, guys. We're talking about the Middle East. So I do think this could be done within a week, but it would have to be an absolute balls out. It would have to be an absolute blitzkrieg. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's a blitzkrieg or nothing. So like I just said there, under US law, any sustained deployment requires Congress authorization. So I don't know which direction that's going in. Also, we've got to consider the 2026 midterms are, so in the United States, the US 2026 midterms, they are looming. So politicians on both sides of this argument, they understand that the US voters do not like long wars. In that context, this could be a quick win for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Imagine the scenes right now, guys. Just imagine this. Imagine this as the headlines next week. Donald Trump sends US Air Force. Donald Trump sends mass deployment into the Middle East. 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne, US Rangers in support of US Delta Force decimate Hamas, clearing out Gaza, separating Hamas fighters from civilian populations, done within 72 hours, and the US forces are out of the country within a week. Can you imagine that? Arab peace forces are in place. Can you imagine that literally, Donald Trump would have a blitz. Honestly, guys, that sort of shit would enshrine Donald Trump. That would get his big statue built, 100%. 100% that would have his 100% that would have his statue built. So we've got to consider, guys, the 2026 midterms are looming. Now, Donald Trump could go for a quick win, which I think it's going to have to be, or he can hold out until after the midterms. I think he's going to go for the quick win, guys. I really do. You've got to understand about Hamas. Hamas don't care about the midterms. They don't care about anything really. They just want to, like, I don't even know what Hamas want. And like, you know, if you gave, look guys, this is my opinion, speculation in my opinion. This is my own opinion, guys. This is my own opinion, all right? If you gave Hamas everything they wanted right now, they would start wanting more. They would want more. They would say, oh no, yeah, we wanted this, but now we want this. It doesn't make any sense, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, guys, you can't negotiate with some people. But, you know, they would fight tooth and nail. You know, Hamas would fight tooth and nail. They've already called and they've already said any international forces would be an occupation, and they refuse to and Hamas are refusing to disarm without a full Israeli exit, which is enter the United States, if you see where I'm going with that. Also, again, this is like kind of like you know, this is kind of like it doesn't really matter this bit. You know, other allies would need to back a deal. I don't think it really matters, guys. But like, if we're going down the legal route where, you know, the United States are going to go into the if the United States are going to go into Israel, if the United States are going to go into Gaza, they would need international backing. I don't really think it matters, guys, but you know, it would always be good if you could get international backing, and if you could get, like for example, in the 2003 war in the war on terror? I don't even know. The war in Iraq, where the United Kingdom gave the rubber stamp to the United States, and then they went into Iraq to disarm Saddam Hussein of weapons of mass destruction. That would be the same context. But you've got to understand that when you're talking about allies and allies specifically in the United Nations, what we're talking about now, this would need a UN resolution, which I would speculate right now, Russia and China would veto that. So it makes no sense asking your allies. And look, guys, let's be clear. The United States are the big boys in the room. You know, the United States are the big boys in the room, and they don't need anyone else's permission. You know, it's like me when I go to the gym. I don't need permission to use a certain piece of equipment. And if I walk towards that piece of equipment, the person on that piece of equipment knows Daddy Raven's walking towards that piece of equipment, and they best get the fuck off or shit's going to go down. And that's just the way it works, guys. That's just the way it works, guys. That is the way it works. Guys, look, I'm right. I can see the chat going crackers on both platforms. Right, guys, I'm gonna jump over to the chat. I'm gonna jump over onto YouTube first. I'm just gonna get the most recent chat, and then I'm gonna go to Trevor Pritchard is saying Gaza is a breeding ground. A breeding ground for what? A breeding ground for cousin marriages? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Claire is saying, had the PS4 VR and I enjoyed. Well, guys, I'm happy that you enjoyed the PS4. Silly is saying, Silly Galadi, who's in Israel, is saying, what people don't understand is that Hamas is Gaza. It's the same. Silly, I agree with what you're saying. For the purpose of this live stream, I have to be like as objective as I can be. My personal opinion would be what yours is, Silly. You know, that, and look, this is from my experience in the Middle East as well. This is from my experience in the Middle East, looking at this and trying to be as objective as I can be. You know, so I would agree with you, Silly. I would agree with you. Lisa Jane is saying there's nothing like a good guys. You guys, right? Hang on a minute, right? Hang on, the chat's going crazy. From now, he's saying Iran announces the official end to the 10-year-old nuclear agreement. What do you think Trump will do now? Okay, right, look. When we talk about the Middle East, everything in the Middle East, guys, it all leads to Iran. What I'm going to say, look, guys, I've still got a fair bit to get through on. My monologue, which what time were 30 odd minutes. So I've still got a fair bit to get through on my monologue, guys. Look, ladies and gentlemen, please throw me your questions. Please throw me your questions, comments, responses. If you think I'm wrong, I appreciate that. And I welcome anyone's adverse opinion. So from now, he's saying Iran announces the official end to the 10-year-old nuclear agreement. What do you think Trump will do now? What we've got to understand is, it is written in the hadith. It is written. No, sorry. That's a different live stream. It is written in US law that the United States will take all action necessary to stop Iran having nuclear weapons. Now, you guys can Google this yourselves. It's House Resolution, I think it's 559 or 599. Both of them are very similar, but I think it's 559. It might not be, it might be 5, but whatever. Now, that House Resolution was passed in November 2023, which clearly states that the United States will take all action necessary, which sounds to me like a Christopher Nolan movie. So that sounds like a Christopher Nolan movie to me, but I love Christopher Nolan and I love all his movies. That sounds like a Christopher Nolan movie to me, where the United States have a US law now, that they have to take all actions necessary to stop Iran gaining a nuclear weapon. It's also US law that they will, I think it's something like they will support freedom of movement from regional allies who also want to stop Iran gaining a nuclear weapon, which basically means Israel. So can you guys remember, I don't know if you guys have been, how long you guys have been following me. Can you remember when I was down in the cellar? When I was down in the cellar and I was like, everything was like a little bit cruddy. When I was down in the cellar and I was talking about this diversions between the United States going into the Middle East and the United Kingdom leading the coalition in Eastern Europe against the Russians, if I'd have said that to you now, would that have, like, if I'd have said it right now, would you have said, yeah, Sean, of course that's happening. Yeah, we can see that. But when I said it 2 years ago, it was wild. Sorry, guys, I'm going to go on to Antarctica, but I'm not. I want to jump back on topic. So what do I think Trump will do now? I think Trump will do exactly what is written in House Resolution 599 or 559 and take all actions necessary to prevent that. So they've already had airstrikes by B-2 bombers, and guys, like, what a flex for Donald Trump. What a flex that he can strike any target anywhere in the world whenever he wants, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. That is a flex. But let's not overplay that hand, guys, because the reality is all wars are fought and won or lost by private soldiers on the front line with 5.56 or 7.62, or in this case, with Ukraine, 5.45. That's the reality of the situation. So in direct response to that question, what do I think Donald Trump will do? Exactly what is required from him by House Resolution 599. Oh, whoa, God, that thumbnail terrified me. 2,000 ill. I don't know what that means. I don't know what this means, mate. I don't know what this means, but he says, I am your captain now. I am your captain now. That's what he's saying. That's what I think he's saying. Ord speaks. Okay, right, guys. I'm just trying to get these comments. I'm trying to get these comments. Right, guys. I am going to jump back to this in a second. Let me just jump over and get. It is written in the Bible that the Jews lived at the Dome of the Mount. Guys, look, I don't want to go with Bibles and stuff. I want to go with where people have got their tanks, bombs, guns, planes, trains, and automobiles. That's what's more. That's what's more for me, guys. Okay, right. Let me. It's Three Eye Atlas, guys. We're not talking about Three Eye Atlas. We are not. Terror ties behind fan ban. Ex-Hezbollah member may have helped block. I don't know what that means, Lisa Jane. I don't know what that means. I've got a lot of love for you, but I don't know what that means. These drones have been causing shit for time. Lol, aliens. Look, guys. Remember, if we're talking about the drones, remember, guys, okay, I told you guys, look, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is why everybody, if you're watching right now and you've not done so already, doesn't matter what platform you're on, you need to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. Philip Gray is saying these drones have been causing problems for a long time. Can you guys remember this time last year when everybody thought the drones over New Jersey were aliens? And I said, nope. I said, this is exactly what they are. And if you want to check that out, go and look on my YouTube feed. I've done a video about it. Turns out, from an article released today or yesterday, exactly what I said in that video is what those drones were. That's the reality of the situation, guys, okay? So if you want to know what's happening in the future, hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, guys. If you don't want to know what's happening in the future, if you don't want to know what's going on, if you don't want to have that speculation about what's happening in the future, like, get yourself off and go and watch BBC. Make sure you get triple vaxxed and pay your taxes. Right, guys, I am going to come back onto this, guys. I want to give you guys a time frame breakdown of US boots on the ground in Gaza. And look, guys, this is my own knowledge from what I know from this is my own speculation. It's not even speculation. This is my own analysis from what I know of US military, of what I know of logistics. And I will caveat this as well. I will caveat this and say, if this is going to be an airborne assault, it's going to be a lot less. But what we're talking about here is a green military intervention. So let's just say, for the purpose of this explanation, Netanyahu, I really need a wee, guy. Guys, can I go and get a wee? Are you going to hang out with me while I go and get a wee? Or, guys, wait there. I need a wee. I need a wee, guys. I really need a wee. I need a wee. I'll see you in. I'm going to say, I don't want to say 3. I'm going to go to the toilet, guys. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Well, less than a minute, guys. Time me. Somebody count. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. Thank you so much. I am indeed back. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm all weed out. So let's consider, and let's just hypothetically assume that tomorrow morning, Benjamin Netanyahu is on the phone. He's like, hey, Donald, we really need some, and he's on the phone to big old Donald, or maybe he does it publicly. Maybe it's a public, whatever. Let's just say that tomorrow, the 20th, tomorrow, the 20th of October, and look, guys, while we're all focused on the Middle East, remember, these asteroids are coming. Whether it's Apophis, whether it's Atlas, whatever it is, or Swan, these things are all coming, but we are talking about the Middle East, okay? So let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, that tomorrow, Benjamin Netanyahu or whatever, get on the phone to Donald Trump or whatever the official chain is. How long until US boots are on the ground? What does that mean? How long is it going to take? Well, I'm taking, for this explanation, guys, I'm going to take out of the equation, absolutely out of the equation, the airborne forces. Because we all know, everybody knows that airborne forces are the coolest. They are. Airborne forces are the coolest. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fancy your uniform is. If you're airborne forces, you are naturally cooler than anyone else. So I'm taking those out of the. I'm taking out of those out of the. Oh God, I've got to close this. Give me a second, guys. I've got to close this fridge. And you guys that jump over to YouTube, you guys know exactly what's in that fridge. So out of the question. Airborne forces is out of the question. RAF Akateria is out of the question. I'm going to try and give you as much of a green answer as I can. So let's just consider, guys, okay? Tomorrow the call goes in. The Israelis are asking for Donald Trump. They're saying, Donny, Pete Hegseth, can you send some guys and sort this shit out? Because every time we go in there, it's detected that live chat didn't appear on your screen in the past 2 minutes. Try using, I don't know what that means. I'm just going to close that down. So apparently the chat's not getting through on TikTok, but whatever. So let's just say it happens tomorrow. However whatever. I'm in my speculation, guys. I'm going to say that this is going to take at least 4 weeks to get those US Marines on the ground in Fallujah. Not Fallujah. You guys are not going to Fallujah. It's going to take at least 4 weeks to get the US Marines on boots on the ground in Gaza. They bring a lot of logistics with them, and that logistics is heavy. So let's just break this down even further, guys, okay? Step 1, immediate response, or your immediate action response, or your IA drill. Within days, the United States could mobilize its existing 40,000 plus troops in the region. So we're talking about bases in Qatar, the Mediterranean fleet. You've obviously got those planners who are already in Israel. They would pivot and they would start. And look, guys, let's be real. You're reeling me up one time, fam. You're reeling me up one time, fam. Let's just be real, fam. I would say these guys have already done this. They've already been mapping out those entry points like Rafah, and the other entry points. So when the US Marines, let's just consider when the US Marines landed in Beirut, just like in, what was it? What was the US Marines in, 58 or something? When the US Marines landed in Beirut, that was 4 days or something after the crisis call. And look, guys, what we've got to understand is right there on the doorstep, 400 kilometers away, we have RAF Akateria. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how many times have you heard me talk about RAF Akateria? Royal Air Force Base, RAF Akateria in the Mediterranean, it's there. Oh, but it's... Stop. The real ace in the hole, guys, look, how many times have I said this? Over years ago, I've said this. The ace in the hole behind RAF Akateria is not the airbase. It's not the ability that you can land airplanes there. You can send aircraft carriers to do that. The ace in the hole about RAF Akatere is they can land troops, get them off the aeroplanes, and put them in barracks. You can feed them. They can wash, they can shave, they can do PT, they can prepare, they can do preparation for subsequent operational requirements. That's the ace in the hole of RAF Akatere. It's not that it's an airbase, it's that they have the ability, 400 kilometers, and if you think about how fast a C-17 flies, not that much in time, it's the ability that the coalition, whatever, the United States, can fly in a shit ton of US soldiers to RAF Akatere, and then they can either parachute them in, they can either heli lift them in, they can either tail them in. Doesn't really matter, but whatever happens in Gaza, it has to happen quick. It has to happen quick. So I'm saying, guys, first boots on the ground is going to be like without the air support. So we and again, there's a lot of nuance in here, guys. I'm happy to answer granular questions with that nuance that it's not gonna be an air assault force. It's going to take 4 weeks minimum. That's what I'm saying, guys. Okay, I'm saying it's going to take 4 minimums. Now, we just talked about the initial phase, which would be the immediate action. You know, the United States mobilizing their regional assets. Step 2, this would be political wrangling. And again, we've got to be clear. The United States do not need to politically wrangle anyone. Absolutely no one. They're the biggest boy in town. They're the biggest guy. They've got the biggest air force. They've got the biggest navy. They've got the biggest army. They can do what they want. But let's just consider Donald Trump would need to notify Congress under the War Powers Act, you know, and they would need to debate an authorization. I think this would be fast tracked. I think this would be fast tracked. If Netanyahu asked for this, or the Israelis asked for it, or there was some like critical need for this, you know, this would be fast tracked. You know, for example, if I don't know, Hamas attacked whatever, you know, a US embassy or something, you know, that would absolutely be fast tracked, guys, 100%. Now, we've got to understand the United Kingdom's involvement in this. And again, I know you might think it's limited, but Tony Blair, and whether you agree with Tony Blair, whether you guys agree with Tony... Oh, hang on a minute. I've got to read Donna's comment on YouTube. Hang on. So, hang on. Right, where's... Hang on, guys. I'm just reading Donna's comments here about Ukraine. Sorry, guys. Right, okay. Trump told... Right, guys, we're going off topic. We're going on a little bit of side quest. But you guys... Listen, guys, I'm here for you. Donna's saying Trump told Zelensky to accept Russia's terms or be destroyed. You've got to understand this context, guys. Zelensky can't accept them. It's not a case of... Okay, how do I explain this? I need to do a live stream on this. Zelensky, the way the Ukrainian military is set up, Zelensky cannot give that order. He can't give that. He doesn't have the authority. What do I mean by that? If Zelensky came out now and he told everybody, generals in east of Ukraine, we have come to a peace agreement and we have ratified this with United States backing. We want you to stop fighting. The generals out in the east of Ukraine would tell him to go fuck himself. They'd say, Zelensky, go fuck yourselves. We're going to continue to fight, whether you want that or not. We've got guns, we've got ammo, we've got explosives. We ain't giving up our land. So it's not as easy. And this is what people don't understand. Like, this is what people try and, like, people don't. And unless you understand these granularizations, unless you understand this nuance, I understand it. I've been there. I speak Ukrainian. I speak Russian. I understand and I enjoy that culture, like I enjoy the Middle Eastern culture. You know, it's not as easy as Zelensky giving an order, because his generals need to agree on that order. And I can guarantee that those generals will not agree on that order. Warning that Putin said he would destroy Ukraine if it did not comply. Well, I think, look, guys, it's crazy. It's all going crazy at the moment. Look at, guys, everybody's... Trump says he expects Putin to keep some Ukrainian land in latest U-turn. I mean, he's won certain property. Okay, when we're talking about the land and the ground and the real estate that Vladimir Putin's won, it means nothing, guys. It means nothing. It's just open land. It's like, it's good for farming. That's all it's good for farming. And that's not a bad thing. I agree. That's not a bad thing. The real prizes that Putin wants to get his hands on, the two main prizes are going to be Kremenchuk, that produces the world 70% of the world's Xeon, which is like in every laser. So if Putin can take control of those Xeon production facilities, he controls the world's lasers. That's the reality. If Putin can take the town of Kremenchuk, which is like literally like pretty much central Ukraine, he will control the world's lasers. Every laser in the world needs Xeon for cutting. Putin will control that. So he wants that. And also, I would say he wants the Dnipro as well, because of the heavy manufacturing, capacity in Dnipro. Russian President Vladimir Putin has won. Yeah, I'm sure we just did that. Maybe, yeah, I think we did that. Multiple sources told the outlet that the meeting where Zelensky was hoping but ultimately failed to secure long-range Tomahawk missiles. Again, look, guys, these long-range Tomahawk missiles, they're not going to be a game changer for the Ukrainians. They are not going to be a game changer. There are no silver bullets. The silver bullet is hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. Quickly descended into a shouting match. Well, listen, guys, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've been to plenty meetings that have turned into shouting matches, so I don't doubt it. Raven needs to go to Specsavers. I'll have you know, good sir, I've got 20/20 vision. And then Sky News, Russia's investment envoy said research into the feasibility of a tunnel for the US and Russia started 6 months ago. So I don't know about this, guys, but what I'm just saying on the pretext of this is a clear indication that, you know how the things that come out now in the mainstream, you know what they say? Hey, wouldn't it be a good idea if we did this? It's already been dealt with. So the stuff that's happening now, these peace deals, long-range missiles, who's taking what, when, where, how, who, it's all been dealt with 6 months ago. So let's get back on track, guys. Let's talk about Gaza. Let's talk about the Middle East, because that is what I want to focus this live stream on. I'm understanding right now that, listen, guys, well, you know what I thought of this live stream? I said to you guys, I said, I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get through everything. But let's try, ladies and gentlemen. So we've talked about the immediate response. We've talked about political wrangling. Let's talk about logistics, guys. So we're talking about now a hypothetical situation where tomorrow morning Netanyahu rings up Trumpy, old Trumpy boy, and he's like, listen, mate, we need boots on the ground because, like, we ain't doing shit. Donald Trump's like, yeah, let's get this shit sorted. Phase 1 would be the immediate response. Phase 2 would be the political wrangling. Phase 3 would be logistics. Massively logistics, guys. Now, likely this would be US Marines, US Marine led. And look, guys, when I say US Marines, let me just Google this. So the US Marine Corps is 169,000. That's just the US Marine Corps, all right? So that is the US Marines, 169,000. When you consider the British military, the army, the whole British army is less than 80,000. Now you start to understand the numbers involved, right? Now you start to understand the numbers involved. So the US Marine Corps is 169,000 active service personnel. That's a lot of people, guys. That's a lot of people. So, like I said, this would be what I'm talking about here is a US Marine-led intervention into Israel. Of course, you know, there would likely be allies from Egypt, from Saudi Arabia, from Jordan. You know, all these people would add to that mix. But initially, I think the main teeth arms would have to be from the United States. The United States would have to leave. And then the Arab nations would have to fill in that peacekeeping, what's what I'm looking for? The peacekeeping contingent of that. So step forward, then be boots on the ground. So like I said, guys, earliest I'm seeing Marines on the ground within 4 weeks. Now, that is 4 weeks from flash to bang, which is quick when you think about all the stuff that you need, you know, and you need to ship that over, which would be a full peacekeeping operation to clear out Hamas, disarm Hamas, give some sort of security in that region. And guys, listen, I'm just going to leave it there because I'm just conscious of the time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are on and you're watching this live stream and you are on TikTok, then ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I'm closing you guys down now on TikTok. But you know what? Jace's Ace has joined. Hello, Jace's Ace. Jace's Ace has joined. Let me get some comments, actually. Shane is saying, I don't see us sending troops to the Middle East. No, I don't either. Any British troop deployment will be in Europe. Mickey is saying, is there a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, or are they still at war? Listen, let me pin this. Mickey, I would say there is a ceasefire on paper, but the reality on the ground is I don't think ceasefire ever even started. Look, guys, I am going to be closing you guys down on TikTok. I will be jumping over to YouTube. I will continue this live stream on YouTube because I'm such a great guy. I'm such a great guy. I will continue this live stream over on YouTube, guys. We'll be talking about what's happening. Do you know what, guys? And I'm going to get myself a carbonated drink. Yes, sir. I'm going to get myself a carbonated drink. If you're not going to jump over to YouTube, guys, I'm a Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm a Real Raven 1 on X. If you're not going to jump over to YouTube, I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I will, good sir. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10, and we will see what's been happening. There have been, as we've been speaking, there have been 10 updates. 10 live updates from the situation in Gaza. So as soon as I jump over to YouTube, guys, I'm going to just start with these updates from the Middle East. Anyway, guys, like I said, if you're not going to jump over, then I will see you guys tomorrow. And I am going to close you guys down now on TikTok. I'll see you later. I'll see you later, roast potato. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are off on TikTok. I'm going to get myself a carbonated drink. Do you know what? Not only am I going to get myself a carbonated drink, I'm going to get myself a carbonated drink. And you guys are going to see how fantastic I am. Ah. I'm here. I've got it. This is how I roll. So here we are. I've got my nozzle. And we are just going to rock this like it's 1982. Oh, look at that golden stuff. Can you see that? Can you see that, guys? Honestly, look at the carbonation in that bad boy. Oh, beautifully chilled. Beautifully chilled. Right, let me put this back in the fridge, otherwise it'll get warm. Right, we are on, ladies and gentlemen. Look, guys, and I can't mention what's happening in the Middle East without mentioning what is happening in the United Kingdom. It's absolutely wild. If you live in the United Kingdom right now, guys, it is fucking crazy. It's crazy what's happening in the United Kingdom. We literally, a couple of days ago, we had a man arrested for wearing a Star of David. And again, look, guys, I'm not someone who's like pro-Israel or like the Zionist, and I've been accused that I genuinely like, guys, I want to go into space and I want to do space travel and stuff. But you can't help but see these things and think, hang on a minute. So a man over there has been arrested for wearing a Star of David. Did I get that right? Did I miss that? Yeah, okay. Equally, the other side of the street, you're having people calling for death to certain people, and you're like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? How quickly is it descending in the United Kingdom? So what I want to talk about is the next big thing that's going to be happening in the United Kingdom. So real quick, guys, I'm going to jump back over, talk about the ceasefire, American boots on the ground in Gaza, the likelihood of that, and of course, we have got 10 updates to get through. 6th of November next 6th of November this year, there's this football game between the Israeli football club like Maccabi. Look, guys, I'm not a football person. I don't know. I do tanks, guns, bombs, and tactics and stuff. That's how I roll. I don't really care about the football. What I do care about is the reality of the situation, because we have a mob rule in the United Kingdom. We have a mob rule in the United Kingdom right now. And, like, nobody can say that that's not the case, because we have a Muslim community who are dictating who can play football. I mean, what's next? What's next? Are they going to ban women's football? You think it's crazy, guys, but it's haram under Islam. Women's football is haram. So now we've got a situation where we've ticked the box. Right, okay, so this Muslim council, they dictate who can and cannot play football. Right, okay, fair enough. Right, okay. Let's go with that. Let's appease them. Let's just say yes. What's next? We already know that girls are not allowed to compete. There was a sponsored run in the United Kingdom. And the Muslims said any girls over 12 are not allowed to compete in this run. Okay, we'll just go with that. We'll just pretend it didn't happen. Okay, right? 11 updates now, guys. So what's next? You know, the Muslim Council of Britain saying, listen, Keir Starmer, we're feeling you, brother, but we don't really think that the women should be playing football. It is absolutely haram, and it is offending a lot of the Muslim brothers. You know, and then, like, it just doesn't, it makes no sense, guys. It makes no sense. I don't even understand it, you know. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really like men's football, and I certainly don't like women's football anymore. But if you want to go and play football, that should be absolutely fine. You know, if your fans want to come to another country, it's not the decision of a minority to dictate that. And I get the argument with these the Israeli ultras or whoever they are, the Tel Aviv ultras, they come over and they commit crime. That's for the police to arrest those people. It's not for a community to... Anyway, guys, look, I should probably do a live stream on that tomorrow. Let me jump over now, guys, because there have been 11 updates on this since we've been on the live stream. 11 updates, 81 updates. Right, let me jump. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Jesus Christ. Right, I'm going. Look, guys, I'm just going to read this. Okay, I'm just going to read this. This is from Al Jazeera, and I get it. Al Jazeera's biased, it is, but they give the information a lot quicker than any other mainstream media outlets. So. This is from Al Jazeera, guys, okay? 1 hour ago, 35 killed in Gaza since dawn. The death toll from Israeli attacks throughout the Palestinian enclave now stands at 35 at the beginning of the day, according to medical sources in Gaza. Israeli army says Gaza ceasefire back on after a day of deadly attacks. Okay, so the ceasefire is back on. Israeli troops injured 2 Palestinians in occupied West Bank. And then there's some pictures. Like, honestly, you know these... I'm not going to get onto that, guys. I'm not going to get onto that. Scroll up. 33 minutes ago, rights group says Donald Trump must rein in Israel in Gaza. The Council on American Islamic Relations, I mean, where do they get funding from? Has denounced Israel for launching a spate of deadly attacks on Gaza despite a 10 US brokered peace deal. 18 minutes ago, they removed everything from existence after months of relentless bombing. Right, okay, I don't know what that means. I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, so remember what we just said? What did we just say? Okay, so remember what we just said, guys. Remember what we just said. So 1 hour ago, we said 35 killed in Gaza. I'm just going to scroll up to 18 minutes ago. 18 minutes ago, no, 11 minutes ago, the death toll rises to 42. Sources in Gaza hospital say at least 42 Palestinians have been killed since dawn. And then 5 minutes ago, Netanyahu sends heartfelt condolences to families of dead soldiers. The Prime Minister says the 2 soldiers killed in southern Gaza today fought to protect Israel's security. On behalf of the entire people of Israel, my wife and I send our heartfelt condolences to the families of... I don't want to butcher these names. Nathal Brigade soldiers, he said, adding they fell in the difficult incident in Rafah. So look, guys, what we can take from this is the situation. That the ceasefire never even started. You know, it never even started. It doesn't look like it's going any further. The Israelis have been sending airstrikes. The Hamas have been blaming the Israelis. It doesn't really matter at this point, guys. I think we just need to wipe the slate clean and start anew. Oh, hang on a minute, guys. Hang on a minute. So, what's going on here? So, Slim is saying, silly, Sean, there is a huge fight right now between the TLV football clubs. Just happened, going to change everything. What is TLV football club, guys? Look, guys, I don't know what TLV football club means. I don't. Oh, so okay, right. So TLV Football Club is Tel Aviv Football Club, right? Okay. Where are you getting that from, Slim? I've just done a quick Google search, but I can't find it. Right, let me get Donna and Silly's comments. Hang on. What is going on, guys? Look, what is going on with? Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, you guys get my speculation is like months ahead. So what I talk about now is, what I normally talk about is what's coming in the future, because the stuff that's happening already, I've already spoken about that, and I know that's coming. What is happening in Manchester, guys? Look at all the shit that's happened. What is going down in Manchester, guys? Like, it's always Manchester, isn't it? So Donna is saying, Manchester Evening News, major UK-wide disruption due to incident. There is a major disruption of service due to various areas across the UK this evening. Right, let's see what else she's saying. Absolute carnage as passengers locked. Right, let me get on this on the rail. Let me see what's happening. I'm doing this in real time, guys. Okay. Major disruption on rail network with trains to Manchester affected. Right. I don't have Facebook, so I can't see that. So I think this is that new. It's not come out on the mainstream yet. Let me try X. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this in real time. I'll give you my real time. I'm not getting anything. Right. Okay. I'll continue to read these, Donna, but I don't know where you're getting that from. Can you let me know where you're getting that from, Donna? Reports that a person being struck. There are reports this evening of a person being struck by a train. Okay, that may be it then. I mean, these things happen, guys. These things really do. They happen, and it's terrible. Manchester Evening News. Right, let me get on to Manchester Evening News, guys. Manchester Evening News. Yes, I'll accept cookies. Manchester Evening News. Here we are. Got it. Thank you, Donna. Okay, right, I've got it. Okay, right. Absolute carnage as passengers locked outside of Euston. Wide disruption. There was There were scenes of carnage at Euston Sunday night, with passengers reported locked outside. Railway lines were closed near the major station due to an ongoing emergency incident. It's understandable someone has been struck by a train during the evening. Services to Manchester Piccadilly, among others, to Preston, Liverpool and Birmingham were also significantly delayed. Very strange how when I just Googled that, I got nothing. National Rail warning of major disruption and numerous trains stranded on tracks. Video shared across social media shows huge crowds outside of the station, which appeared to have its gates shut. Guys, this is a big incident. Euston Station is shut. Chaos tonight. If you're booked on a plane or planning a trip out of Euston, maybe go home and try again tomorrow. Another person wrote, every train from Houston is cancelled. Football fans here. Station closed. Too many people. Absolute carnage. Euston Station is the worst, hottest pit of the deepest circle of hell. Emergency services, including paramedics, British Transport Police, were called to the scene of the incident at Watford Road Junction and London Euston, with all lines closed. So it does look like, yeah, one person on board the train from Manchester to Piccadilly was told the line near King's Langley for over an hour before a replacement bus was organised from what... Guys, this is a big incident. The conductor done the announcements. An update on said disruption was expected until the end of the day, with many services either... Guys, yeah, something massive's happened. Sorry, guys, I'm just... Yeah, something definitely massive has happened, guys. It's very difficult to understand what it actually is from the thing. Sunday evening on trains is shocking as it is without all this crazy stuff going on. I agree, mate. I agree. It's always crazy. When I was in the army, we always used to go back on the last train. Oh, that is fantastic beer. Slim, I've known for 30 years. We have spent a lot of time together creating music on holidays. We have never had an argument. Oh, okay. So Trevor Pritchard and Slim are good friends. I like that, okay. Slim is saying Al Jazeera are full of shit. Right, okay, guys, listen. I need to throw this out there. The reason I go with Al Jazeera, and I always have Al Jazeera on, is because if we're talking about the Middle East, Al Jazeera always get the updates out there before anyone else. Now, whether you agree with that or whether you agree with that political slant or that what's the word I'm looking for? That bias, it's totally fine. But the information is always there before anyone else. So, for example, if the medical center or the medical authorities in Gaza do a press release and say 35 people have been killed, Al Jazeera will get that before anyone else, guys. They will. Every time, you know. We was on the live stream earlier and we was talking about this, and we literally got the same article from Al Jazeera, I think 8 minutes before the BBC. You know, so I always go with Al Jazeera first. Yeah, 82 JT is saying, I agree, I'm outside of the UK on business, I have Al Jazeera on. Yeah, guys, look, they do have a massive bias, but the information that they give is always before anyone else. Donna is saying, I don't think it's just because someone has been struck by a train. Neither do I, Donna. From the information I've just read about this train thing, I think there's more going on to this. There's been a lot of train lines closed. I've seen people get hit by trains. They get them off the train track. They deal with the situation and then they open the train track. That's what they do. So I think like you, it's very strange. You know what, Donna, I can't articulate your comment better than you, so I'm just going to read it. And I agree with Donna here. So Donna is saying, I don't think it's just because someone has been struck by a train. It's very strange to close many other. I agree. It's very strange to close all these different, to close all these other terminals. It is. It's so strange, guys. But look, guys, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now, okay? I'm going to be monitoring this situation with the trains. I am. And thank you so much, Donna, for putting me onto that. It could be terrorist related. It could, remember, all this crazy stuff's happening in Manchester. So every time I hear Manchester, I'm thinking, right, okay, what's the real reason? So this is in and around Manchester area, Manchester, Piccadilly. So I will be monitoring this, guys, okay? And if there is something that needs to be communicated, I'll be straight back on. What we need to understand right now is the Middle East is in absolute diddly-swiddly carnage, guys. Absolute carnage, the Middle East. Here in the United Kingdom, we have, and I'm only speculating here, guys. Obviously, this is my speculation, analysis, opinion. I'm speculating that we have thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of sleeper cells actively living in the United Kingdom. This evening, maybe a sleeper cell activating. I don't know. But look, guys, I am going to close this down now. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. If there's something that is critical and it's breaking news about this, well, anything really, but in particular about this rail strike person, whatever's happening, the rail place has been closed, I will jump straight back on that, guys. But anyway, listen, guys, if you've not done so already, please hit that like, follow, subscribe button. And thank you all. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 10, unless something critical has happened. And then I'll be back on and you'll speak to me later. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later. Thank you.